kind of having a lot of money here. Oh, well, I guess I need to make another gateway. And essentially, as probably many of you have been noticing that I'm doing right now, it's a little sloppy, this build that I'm trying to execute. Like, I haven't done Chrono Boost. I've been waiting, and it seemed like I was doing it for explanatory purposes, but we're going to just get a basic measurement of kind of like how much stuff I have and at what time. I mean, I'm at this 4-minute and 39-second mark. So, and the idea is, with this, we want to try to smooth this out as much as possible. Now, here comes a little bit of potentially wrong learning. Notice, wow, I have a ton of money at the 5-minute mark, according to QXC's amazing game tester, which is actually what we're looking at right now. I actually have enough money to expand at 5 minutes. So cool, let me get my warp gates up. And, oh wow, yeah, I actually have all this Chrono Boost here, and my Dark Templar are almost done. Alright, cool, I'll build a pylon here. And what we're eventually going to see is... Alright, cool. I can get these DTs out at about 5 minutes and 25 seconds. So, let's pause for a moment and just come back and say that that sort of felt okay. That felt reasonable. This is feeling pretty okay. But let's say this is a problem that you end up encountering, and this is entirely reasonable in... Actually, I'll do that second. Considering it was only 5 minutes of time, I can do several of these, which of course was the goal. So 5 minutes and 25 seconds to get these Dark Templar out. And wow, I noticed that I actually had a Nexus up in there as well. So let's just reset everything. Oh, cool. They end up exploding, so I do a little bit of splitting. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to flesh out this build as much as possible. Just like the basics, just the opening. And what I'm going to say right now is one of the things that I'll end up trying to do later on is to be like, okay, let's pretend that I had this big problem with early pressure and I felt obligated to get a Zealot out. Let's suppose for a moment that that was what happened in example 3. This is example 2, so right now we're just going to try to refine that as much as we can. So, okay, I'm going to build my pylon a little bit closer. And I'm rallying this probe. See this probe that just finished mining? Notice how I rearranged these 3 probes to optimize a little bit, and then of course forgot a 10th probe because I was busy talking and being horrible. So hopefully that little mix-up won't screw us up too much. So now I'm just going to be practicing my build. I'm looking for a good place to be rallying my Nexus to, so that way, right, like this top one looks good. See, the probe pops right out, and then they trade off. That seems good. Okay, cool. I'm going to be building this gateway. It's a little bit closer. I'm getting him in position. Always a little bit better to be sending him early than it is to be sending him late. Because so important in StarCraft is it to just have good refinement of your timings and everything. My Chrono Boost was mildly late there. Not extraordinarily awful, but a little bit late. And of course, a lot of that has to do with how bad I am at talking and playing. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like if you were a musician and you wanted to start composing all this beautiful music. To an extent, it doesn't matter how much stuff you're able to write down, how many different songs you can compose, if at the end of the day, you are really bad at playing your songs, because then you will not be able to even listen to them and test how they sound. So see how I'm like sending this probe early to build the cybernetics core. I sent him as the gateway was finishing. So I'm trying to be as speedy as possible. I'm noting that my Chrono Boost is almost already saved up. And what I'm starting to note is I'm starting to write down all these times in my head. At 18, I was building this second assimilator and I was Chrono Boosting. In my head, this is the way that I have sort of optimize this. And I just sort of coincidentally know through playing that I can actually afford to build that pylon right now. So I will. Because it doesn't get in the way of anything else. And here comes the Stalker, so I'm going to be spamming my Stalker to try to get him out. Notice how much lower my money seems. Before it seemed like, wow, maybe I could actually get this expansion up. And now, look, I just have enough energy to be able to Chrono Boost this Stalker. And I want to be starting my Citadel of Adun in just a moment. Or not my Citadel of Adun. Whoops, wrong game there. And already things are looking a little bit faster. And this actually is a key difference between when you watch a tip-top level player play and a slightly sort of off player play. Now notice, like, for instance, I didn't quite have enough money to build another unit after I got that warp gate. I am just dead broke at this point in time. I'm actually going to be building a 3rd pylon so I don't get blocked. I'm aware that, okay, now there's that chrono boost. I do want that warp gate research, so let's go ahead and do that. Is that the right thing to be spending the chrono boost on? Well, I don't know, but it seems to work so far for now. And right now, notice I don't quite have enough money to get that Dark Templar shrine out. And, whoa. Sorry, my keyboard went a little bit haywire. So I'm going to be building primarily Zealots in this circumstance. Woo. I will admit, it is very weird to not be able to scroll the screen. And oh wow, yeah, I also have Chrono Boost, and I can Chrono Boost away. Alright, so I will on the Warp Gates. But it's very, very unusual feeling when you start really getting good timing, because you just feel broke all the time. And honestly, when I was playing this last time, like in the game before I reset this, I was thinking to myself, man, wow, I didn't realize I had this much money. Maybe I should make that following adjustment. And remember how 5:25 was the time we got those Dark Templar out last time? It looks like we're going to get them out a lot earlier. So as you're playing faster and as you're playing a little bit more smoothly, you'll be shocked at how much stuff you can actually get away with. So it looks like I'm able to expand even a little bit earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and make some more Zealots, another Sentry. And, well, perhaps I won't be making another Sentry. Looks like I'm going to Chrono Boost this. And wow, I'm getting Dark Templar 30 seconds earlier. Oh my god. And that's actually such a significant amount of time. I'm almost a little bit shocked. And I got this expansion up, and I have a reasonable amount of units up. So, okay, this is the end of this little example. Let's just come back and talk about what we found out, right? So, suddenly, I'm getting things 30 seconds faster. That's huge. I mean, imagine a game where you get... this is actually something that happened to me, because I remember one of the first times I did this, I botched this play. My opponent was pushing really aggressively at me, and actually got a Raven to the front of my base right when the Dark Templar popped out. Okay, look, I really botched it in that time. Okay, I'd actually built a Templar Archives. This is one of my very early days of playing, when I thought the Templar Archives got you Dark Templar in this game. This is like 4th day of beta. And then the next game I was like, wow, you know, but like, the fact remains that he had that Raven at my base, and it made me go, oh, okay, I just screw this. No, I don't want to have to worry about, you know, Dark Templar in that circumstance. It's not going to be that strong. But imagine if I had a 30-second edge, that push that was at the front of my base that was joined by the Raven, I could have repelled and done tons of damage to, and it would have pushed him all the way back because of 30 seconds of time. I mean, we're just going to sit here for a minute and just sit for 30 seconds. And we're just going to absorb how much happens in 30 seconds. So, okay, at 610, I have 1,700 minerals. And we're just going to stare at this screen. I mean, just so it really feels apparent. You know, hell, I'll even build some Dark Templar in here, and we'll probably get another production cycle out. I mean, you end up with so much more stuff. I mean, we're still above 1,700. Look, it's only been 20 seconds. Imagine how much damage these Dark Templar could be doing. Hell, if I just had these Dark Templar attack through all these units, how long will it take to kill all of them? So at 6:35, they started killing them. I mean, an extraordinary amount of time is 30 seconds. Look, it's been 10 seconds. Half this army's almost dead, thanks to these 2 Dark Templar. So, I mean, really, truly, 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 all this way of shaving stuff down is so helpful to make your strategies all that much better. Now, there was a concerned forum poster on another forum that you may have heard me mention in the previous day's cast, who said that it was depressing watching my Silver and Gold League level commentary, because he said that it implied that StarCraft was only about fast button pushing and not at all about strategy. That strategy comes second to your ability to dash across the keyboard. No. I mean, all of us kind of say no, but we need to have a good reason why, because we don't want to just point at those people and go, you're an idiot, and then just sort of, that's the end of it. So here's the best way to go about explaining it, is that when you really refine everything and get the timing down super, super, super tight, you start saying to yourself, huh, I actually didn't realize that I had that extra money there. And playing perfectly as I can, I still have that little bit of money there. Maybe there's actually a little bit of something I could get away with. So for instance, let's take, okay, so Savior, who's a controversial figure because he's the devil and did this pro-gaming cheating scam and all this stuff, but still I'm going to use him as an example. all Zerg players in Zerg vs. Protoss and Brood War had a really refined play, so that right about the time that their Spire was building and they were getting ready to sort of spring forward into like this big mid-game, and this is way back when everyone went Mutalisks, they had about 200 minerals in this period of time. So what Savior said is, well, if I just focus on being a little bit careful with how I move my drones, for instance, when his expansion finished, he would transfer 2 drones instead of the very typical 4, really, really, really subtle. And he would actually save 1 larva at a hatchery. He would just keep it there. So instead of, going 1 larva and then building down to 0, 1 larva building down to 0, it would be 2 larvae building down to 1, 2 larvae building down to 1. And suddenly, he went from having 200 in this period of time to having 300. So he just built